Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today is a very special Reunion 2020 episode. That's where I bring on a guest I had on in the past, and I liked him so much I had to bring him on back. Today's guest is Richard Begel, and he is a musician and teacher, and he has a couple of bands of his own. Richard, welcome back to the show. Great to hear from you.
Thanks so much for having me. I was really surprised to get the call for this first time, and just as surprised the second time.
Come on, you know I'm bringing my buddies back. I love it. Come on, you know how it is. Go green, right?
That's good for me.
That's awesome. So let's just jump right in. First off, I know we recorded probably about a year ago, so I don't want to assume everybody heard the first episode. Let's get into some of the activities that you're into. So let's talk more about your work in your bands.
Okay, well, starting with what is my regular employment for a musician, that's we might call them day jobs, even though some are at night. I play in the Dayton Philharmonic, and I teach at a couple of colleges in this area, Earlham College, IU East, and Sinclair Community College. And those are where a musician myself can get regular income streams if you're lucky enough to get some work teaching and performing. And to satisfy other musical interests, I have started my own groups, and the most active ones right now are the Greater Dayton Brass Ensemble and the Miami Valley Klezmer Ensemble. And so that's who I'm pushing for work when I'm not working at one of those other places.
That's awesome. And I know you mentioned you have some shows coming up and some other things. Let's talk a little bit about those.
Sure. The Klezmer Group is really proven to be quite active, and I know in our last interview we discussed how, someone told me we could be very popular in New York or Florida where there might be a lot of activity for this Jewish music, but it turns out being the only game in town in Ohio was not a bad thing. And so that's proving to be true. We have, like 8 gigs booked between May and August coming up in 2020. And the first of these is really exciting because we're bringing in a band from Florida, or part of this band from Florida, called the Klezmer Company Orchestra, and they will mix with us to play their music, a style they're calling Cubano jazz, a mix of Latin music and klezmer together, and that's going to be super exciting. 2 shows on May 3rd. Do you want times now and that kind of thing?
Let's do it. Let's just get right in. We'll bring back up in the end. So a little tip here. You got to do it in the beginning and you got to do it in the end. Go for it.
Well, Sunday, May 3rd at 9:30 in the morning at Congregation Saddam on Loveland Madeira Road in Loveland, Ohio. 9:30 in the morning performance. My band and the Klezmer Company Orchestra mixed together. And then later the same day, 3 o'clock in Centerville, Ohio, at Klein Elementary School, there may be a $5 charge at the door for that one. And we'll also be mixing with the Dayton Jewish Chorale. And so we'll have this Klezmer Latin mix of music and a lot of guests, and it's going to be very exciting.
And that's awesome. And let's go a little bit more into some of your. You mentioned that you had some activities and or things that took over your life. And hold on, I have to record this right now, Richard. Tell me what's going on with this bearded dragon, because I've seen one the other day and they scare me. I have to
that's
do it.
So funny. Well, you get less squeamish as you get used to them. Let me tell the listeners what we're talking about here. So I've always grown up knowing that my sisters were allergic to anything with fur, and that's why we couldn't get a dog. Of course, later, they both got dogs. But anyhow, so I got pet reptiles and things growing up in high school, and my daughter got a beer dragon. Now, when they're young, They eat a lot of the live insects. So they eat so much. We started breeding our own roaches in a bin in the basement. And then the bearded dragon eats less roaches and more vegetables when they're older. So I started selling the roaches. And this led me to somebody who wanted to buy them all, and he is a gecko breeder. Now, this guy has an apartment. This is just crazy. If you ever wanted a business to take off, right, hear the rest of this story. This guy has an apartment with 200 geckos, and he said they're all laying eggs. And in the spring, he's going to have 1,000 geckos.
Wow.
And so there's no way I can keep up with my roaches breeding fast enough to make the food that his geckos will need. So we have formed a little partnership where we make orders together to add to the live insects that we both need, and his apartment is so overrun with geckos that we sell his geckos out of my house.
So, my gosh, did you say he has 1,000 geckos?
Well, he has 200, and when all these eggs that he has hatch, he's going to have at least that many coming up. So if you're a freelance musician and you do different things during your day, like look for other gigs, this can be part of your life too.
Oh my gosh, let me tell you, first of all, this is the best story ever, and second of all, I was introduced to this little Sadie, so one of my good buddies' daughters. I was over their house, and she shows me this bearded dragon, and I'm like, what is this thing? And she's like, touch it. She's this little cute little princess, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this she's doing? And then the other part of the story that you mentioned, what they eat, then she started looking at that, and she touched it. I'm like, ah! And I'm over here like, I'm scared. I'm like this guy, right? And I'm not exactly small, and I'm scared. And this little princess, little girl is just walking around daintily, petting them, petting the food, petting whatever, like, oh, look at the girl. Yeah. And she's like it's a little kitten, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that thing looks so scary.
It's the same with my 10-year-old daughter and the live food that isn't exactly pretty. But just like you would get used to one thing, you get used to another.
That's awesome. I love it. So, Richard, we digress. I want to let's drop those dates again one more time on those gigs you have coming up, please.
Well, we of course have a Facebook page, Miami Valley Klezmer Ensemble, and the other group does too, but nothing coming up for them, the Greater Dayton Brass Ensemble, and they have their websites that come off of mine, which is richbegel.com. You have to look through the solos and ensemble area to get to those groups. Now, the dates that will be listed in all of those places are Sunday, May 3rd, a show in Loveland, Ohio at 9:30 in the morning, and another one in Centerville, Ohio at 3. Then we are playing in schools Monday the 4th, but that's not open to everyone. Monday night, May 11th, there's a Jewish holiday called Lag BaOmer. That's a celebration, and we'll be playing for that in Centerville, Ohio at Temple Beth Or. Sunday, June 7th is the big outdoor Jewish Cultural Festival at Temple Israel. Now, one great thing the Miami Valley Klezmer Ensemble does is we wear different hats. We're going to become a Dixieland band, a swing band, and a klezmer band all in the same day at the Jewish Cultural Festival, because it's their 10th anniversary of this festival, and so they want all different music, and we can put on a different hat and play different styles. So then there's something in August, but all of this great stuff will be listed at our Facebook and website.
That's awesome. And so if somebody wants to get in contact with you, is the website the best route, or what should they do?
Facebook page is probably easiest to find. The website is also another way to get me. That's richbegel.com. And I will very soon make our own website that doesn't have a bunch of backslashes to reach it.
Awesome. Well, hey, you have the Gecko Gold train coming in, so I'm not worried about you. Next time we're gonna do a 2021 episode. I'm gonna be like, so how's it going, Rich? You're gonna be like, yeah, retired from music, got this farm. I got this farm, and I got these million geckos running around.
Well, you know,
that's exciting. I can't. No,
Richard,
we're cutting it off. I gotta let you go, buddy. I can't.
Okay, thanks a lot.
No, don't hang up. I just mean if we don't cut it off now, we talk about this all day. But I really do. I really do appreciate you coming on the show. It's been a lot of fun as always. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun recording it for you. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Leave me a review on iTunes or Spotify, all those other good things. And thanks again for tuning in. And Richard, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks so much, Adam.